In today's world, it feels like everything revolves around two massive players, the United States and China. Their rivalry seems to define global politics, trade, and technology. It's the story of the century, the heavyweight match that has everyone watching. But what if I told you there's a third, often underestimated, giant in the room? A power that doesn't always roar, but whose influence quietly shapes the world we live in. That power is Europe. It's easy to dismiss Europe. Compared to the decisive actions of Washington or the grand ambitions of Beijing, the European Union can seem like a complex, slow-moving ship. But to write off Europe is to miss a huge part of the global picture. Europe isn't just a continent of beautiful old cities and rich history. It's a modern geopolitical force with a unique and powerful toolkit. It's the quiet pillar holding up much of the international order, and its role is more critical now than ever. So let's pull back the curtain and explore why Europe still matters profoundly in this US-China-dominated world. It's a story of subtle power, regulatory might, and diplomatic finesse. And it's a story that affects all of us, no matter where we live. First, let's talk about the economy. Europe, as a bloc, is an economic titan. The EU is the largest single market in the world, a club of 27 countries with nearly 450 million consumers. Think about that for a second. That's a bigger consumer market than the United States. This sheer size gives Europe immense gravitational pull. Any global company, whether it's from Silicon Valley or Shenzhen, cannot afford to ignore the European market. If you want to sell your products globally, you have to play by Europe's rules. This leads us to one of Europe's most powerful, yet often invisible, tools, its regulatory influence. When the EU sets a standard for a product or service, whether it's about data privacy, environmental protection, or consumer safety, that standard often becomes the global norm. Why does this happen? Well, it is often easier and cheaper for multinational corporations to adopt the strictest standard across all their operations rather than creating different versions of their products for different markets. So when Europe mandates higher safety standards for cars or stricter privacy protections for user data, companies worldwide often adopt those standards everywhere. The most famous example is the GDPR, the General Data Protection Regulation. When the EU rolled this out, it fundamentally changed how companies handle personal data. Suddenly, tech giants from California to China had to give users more control over their information. This European law didn't just protect Europeans. It set a new global benchmark for digital rights. In an age where data is the new oil, Europe has effectively become the world's digital referee. It's not imposing its will through military force, but through law and regulation. This is a unique form of power, one that doesn't make headlines like a trade war, but shapes the very fabric of our digital lives. This regulatory power extends far beyond the digital realm. Think about environmental standards. The EU has been at the forefront of tackling climate change with ambitious targets for carbon neutrality and regulations on emissions. Its carbon border adjustment mechanism, essentially a tax on carbon-intensive imports, forces companies around the world to rethink their carbon footprint if they want to trade with Europe. Again, Europe is leveraging its market power to drive global change, pushing both the US and China to take climate action more seriously. While the US and China often engage in direct, sometimes confrontational, power politics, Europe excels at a different game: diplomacy and mediation. The EU was born from the ashes of two world wars, founded on the very idea of replacing conflict with cooperation. This DNA is deeply embedded in its foreign policy. Europe is often the world's leading voice for multilateralism, the idea that countries should work together through international institutions like the United Nations. In an era where the US-China rivalry threatens to paralyze these institutions, Europe's role as a defender and promoter of this system is crucial. It acts as a bridge builder, a mediator, and often the adult in the room. Consider the Iran nuclear deal. It was a complex, multi-year negotiation, and European diplomats were at the heart of it, working tirelessly to bring all sides to the table. When the US pulled out of the deal, it was Europe that fought to keep it alive, believing that diplomacy, however flawed, was better than the alternative. This role as a stabilizing force is indispensable. While Washington and Beijing are locked in a zero-sum competition, Europe can offer a third way. It can talk to both sides. It maintains a strategic partnership with the US through NATO and deep economic ties, but it also has a comprehensive relationship with China, its second-largest trading partner. This unique position allows Europe to act as a crucial channel for communication, de-escalation, and finding common ground on global challenges like pandemics, climate change, and financial stability. It's not about choosing a side, it's about preserving a system where all sides can coexist and cooperate. Beyond its formal institutions, Europe's power also lies in its soft power, the attractiveness of its culture, values, and way of life. The European model, with its emphasis on social safety nets, universal healthcare, work-life balance, and democratic values, offers an alternative vision for development that resonates with many around the world. This isn't just about exporting croissants and luxury fashion. It's about promoting a model of society that values more than just raw economic growth. In a world grappling with rising inequality and social tensions, the European emphasis on social cohesion and the welfare state is a powerful idea. Furthermore, Europe is a scientific and technological powerhouse. While we often hear about Silicon Valley and Shenzhen, let's not forget that Europe is home to world-class universities, cutting-edge research institutes, and innovative companies in sectors like pharmaceuticals, renewable energy, and advanced manufacturing. From the development of the Airbus to the groundbreaking work at CERN, European innovation has consistently pushed the boundaries of human knowledge. This capacity for innovation is a key pillar of its future relevance and autonomy. Of course, Europe is not without its challenges. It faces internal divisions, populist movements, demographic shifts, and the immense task of coordinating 27 different national interests. Its military capacity, while significant in total, is fragmented and reliant on NATO and the US security umbrella. The process of making decisions in Brussels can be painstakingly slow, a stark contrast to the swift directives from Washington or Beijing. But these weaknesses are often the flip side of its strengths. Its slowness is a result of its democratic and consensus-based nature. Its focus on regulation over military might is a conscious choice, reflecting a different philosophy of power. So as we navigate this complex century defined by US-China competition, it's a mistake to see the world as a two-player game. Europe is not a passive spectator. It is an active and influential player with its own unique strengths. It is the regulatory superpower setting global standards, the diplomatic anchor promoting stability and multilateralism, and a global hub for trade and innovation. Europe's power is quieter, more subtle, and more complex than the loud assertions of its rivals. It is the power of the rulemaker, the mediator, and the model. It is the third pillar that provides crucial balance and stability to the global structure. Underestimating Europe is not just a misreading of the present. It's a failure to understand the forces that will shape our future. The world is not bipolar, it is multipolar. And in that multipolar world, Europe matters more than ever. Thanks for watching. If you found this perspective interesting, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell so you won't miss our next exploration of global affairs. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. See you next time.